Hello, everyone. I'm Anthony Barone, and this is SEO in 2025.
Anthony, what's your number one SEO tip for 2025?
My number one SEO tip for 2025 is going to be how can you get optimum results from an agency, and how can the agency get also some good results from their client, and working together and focusing on that relationship.
Optimal, that's a good word. So what does an optimum client-agency partnership look like in 2025?
So what it should look like is traditionally just be, all right, we pay you, you do work, and then sometimes the client won't actually know what you're doing, and then it just keeps on rolling. Some agencies, focus on communication, focus on priorities, focus on accountability and honesty, and the clients, if they've got some good people working in-house, got some good experience, they'll know where to challenge the agency rightly and try and get optimal results for the business and help achieve the business goals. But where sometimes it falls down is SEOs will get focused on the SEO-y bit. Oh, this is cool. I can use this in a case study for SEO. And they sometimes miss the actual point of why they're there, is to help build SEO for this company, for this brand, so that they can make more money, more forms, build their business, expand in other markets, whatever it may be. So what I want to try and focus on is things like understanding a client's resources, understanding their business priorities, understanding what they actually want to achieve over the short, medium, and long term, and how SEO can be a part of that. Because SEO is just another channel in a lot of channels that people will be doing to try and grow their business. The accountabilities on both sides, who's responsible for what? Because then that leads to honesty. What can you do and what can't you do? As an agency, you've got to tell them what you can and can't do. Don't sell them things you can't do, because you'll get stuffed later down the track. You'll get found out. And as a brand or as a company, tell the agency what your budgets are. Tell your agency what resources you've got. If you've got a developer, can you do content? Because then they'll be best placed to put together a pitch or put together a plan that'll work for your current situation, which tends to fail because people don't want to be honest and egos get in the way, and they don't want to be seen as not having those resources, not having those things. So having that honesty and accountability allows them to then focus on the company goals and how SEO can help to achieve those company goals. Because that's the point at the end of the day, is you as an agency are getting involved to help them improve their SEO or improve their PPC or improve their marketing channel. And the team internally knows the goals, knows what they need to achieve. They've got that from the C-suite. They've got that they know what the P&L is, and how that marketing channel can help to achieve their goals.
So in a consistent, in a fairly regular agency setup, you've got an SEO consultant that works on the account on a daily basis, and you've got maybe an account manager as well. And quite traditionally, maybe the account manager has more regular monthly or quarterly calls with the business. Is it the account manager's responsibility to determine these business goals and ensure that activities are set up to meet these business goals? Or should the SEO consultants, SEO executives actually be involved in understanding the business goals and having conversations about that?
I think there's twofold. I think it starts in the sales process and the lead process and the discovery call. So when whoever's doing BD, so for us, it's me and another helping to build that, and you're asking these questions at the start, and you're probing these people because you want to make sure that it's the best fit for you as an agency, but also for them. Because sometimes people working in businesses, they don't have the full picture. So I feel like it's up to us to be able to probe and ask those questions. They might not know all the answers right now, but asking those questions, getting them to think about it, getting them to then ask the right people in the business to then get the answers. Because you as an agency want to make the best decision for you and your team. You want to be able to work with people that you can actually make a difference for, and that your reputation doesn't get burned. Because we've all done that when you're starting out your business and things like that. You'll sign people like, I can really make a difference, but you don't have the full picture and you haven't asked all the questions to then get the most information out to put together the right pitch. And then what happens is, traditionally, it goes a bit sideways because things change and you need to have the full picture. So I think from the sales process it starts, and being able to get the right information and provide the best pitch possible with all the information you can get. If you're already working with an agency, some of the things that you want to try and focus on is the account manager / SEO consultant will have to potentially rework the campaign, rework the roadmap by asking more of those questions. Ask the brand, because the marketing manager might not also be aware of everything that's going on in the business. They're most likely not going to know the P&L. They know their budget, and they will know or they should know their budget. Sometimes they don't. But then you can ask them those questions, and the marketing manager, CMO, the heads of can then go and ask who they need to in the company to then give you a better picture of how to then structure their campaign. Do you need to pitch in content? Do you need to pitch in more technical execution hours because they don't have the devs? Do you need to make referrals to partners to help out the client? And reassessing what the actual playing field is. And I think as an agency, we've got a bit of responsibility to do that because it also helps out them.
So you have to ask the right questions, try to understand the objectives and the goals to begin with. However, they might not be willing to share everything to begin with, and they might not know the answers of everything to begin with. And that's why you've got to be continually answering the questions, asking the questions on a regular basis, because if you don't, then you might miss something. The client's situation, objectives, setup might change. And if you're not asking the questions on an ongoing basis, then you might miss that and not be targeting your efforts towards the right goals. If you're asking the right questions, if you're asking about their objectives, their goals, what are some warning signals that you've heard to be aware of as a potential red flag, as an unrealistic objective?
Yeah, so there's a couple there. So as an agency, if you like to execute and you like to actually jump in and do things, if you're creating content, you're doing link building, a few other things, if they say to you, oh, we've got our own devs, great, can we work with them? Oh, but we're only on a small retainer with them and they can only do certain things. Okay, you might struggle to get some of the things you need done. Custom CMSs with a dev team that gatekeeps, problem, you're not going to get much done. That's another red flag where you have those types of systems, and it doesn't matter how much money they have in the budget. If you can't get anything done, it's going to be a very short leash, and probably won't be a long-term client, that one. So that's always a red flag for us, is the gate-kept CMSs or dev teams that can't get anything done. That's one. Another one is budget. So budget, of course, budget's always a tough question, and people want to be a bit coy with the budgets. I get it. But if you don't provide at least a range or something, then the agency might either go, and depending on, ideally, I like to think there's a lot of good agencies out there, but that budget or range gives them an idea to then know what to pitch. And then, okay, do we need to pitch more technical content? What do we need to do? Or if you don't give them that budget, they could just go wildly off the reservation in terms of price. And then you come back in that proposal meeting and go, those blokes charge us an absolute fortune. How dare they? Well, that's because you didn't tell them what the actual goals are, what the budget was. And if you tell them that could also save you a lot of time, because then the agency go, look, our prices start from here. Here's some partners that you can work with, or it gives you a more tailored approach, which saves everybody's time. So budget's also another one. In the UK, Companies House is always a favorite. And I think people underutilize that. Not saying you have to be an accountant, but in the UK, you can look at the books of clients and see, hey, is this actually feasible for, and SEO is a long-term prospect. So looking at their books, looking at your minimum price and going, hey, looking at their books for the last few years, do these people, from what I can ascertain from Companies House, actually have enough for a yearly budget of X for my services, for the bare minimum? Yes or no? And going into that, not just from an SEO perspective, from an actual business financial perspective as well. And vice versa. Brands and companies who are looking at agencies in the UK should do that and look at their books and go, hey, is this company actually going to go bust on me? Do they have some money? Do they have some resources? Have they been there, done that? Because everybody does that on case studies and on their website, but finances run things. So I think both ends, and that's what we've been doing as an agency, is trying to just look at Companies House, and it gives you a bit of a picture. It's not giving you the full P&L and everything, but just gives you enough of a picture to then ask the questions when you're in those discovery calls or follow-up calls to then get a bit more information. Because you don't want the client going bust on you either, and the client doesn't want the agency going bust on them either, especially in these times.
Yeah, I love that. Just a bit of due diligence on the potential clients, just to make sure hopefully they're going to stick around for a while and can afford to pay you, as you say. So those are some objectives, or that could be a potential warning. What are some great objectives, the kind of objectives that you like to work with a client on?
So when clients have clear goals, like they say, hey, we're an e-commerce brand, we have a plan for the next 3, 5, 7 years. We want to hit X amount in revenue. These are our goals. These are our marketing channels. The marketing manager or CMO is probing you and asking the right questions. They understand where you're coming from. They've got an understanding of how agencies work. So I think having a business having clear goals, business objectives, because then that gives you a goal to then see how SEO or your marketing channel fits in to help achieve that goal. So that's where and a lot of people just like, it happens in life. Oh yeah, we've just got a goal of growing, or it's the negative where our agency was no good before. Our PPC needs to be reduced. Our budgets are tight, whatever. We need to find a cost-effective solution. But I think a business having those goals, we need to improve our margins by X. We want to improve our dominance in the UK by this. We want to focus on bringing these product ranges to market over the next 3 years. It's literally clear goals like that, which gives you more of an indication, because you can look at it from an SEO perspective and go, yeah, we can increase traffic, great. But if it's not the right traffic and we're not bringing more form fills in, we're not bringing more contacts in, we're not bringing more sales in, then is it impacting the P&L, which in these current days, everyone is looking at. Everyone's looking at the pound, everyone's looking at the dollar. How can they squeeze more out of it? Budgets are tight. People are getting made redundant. Agencies are going down. What's going on? So people are looking at that dollar more and that pound more. So being able to talk their language and go, you want to achieve these goals? You want to be the biggest this? You want to sell the most of this? You want to be the biggest whatever? Great. This is how we can, as an agency, craft an SEO strategy, PPC strategy, social strategy, whatever it may be, to then help achieve those goals, rather than just fluff in the air numbers. Oh, yeah, great. This is what we can do. But you're speaking their language. Because at the end of the day, that person, that CMO, that marketing manager, exec, whatever, has got to report to the C-suite. And the C-suite predominantly are finance and ops people. So what they should be doing, they're going to be held by the numbers. So you want to make their lives easy and go, hey, what are your numbers? What are your goals? What's the C-suite telling you? And again, sometimes I'm not going to give you everything, but you're trying to make their lives easier. So, and then matching up your strategy to then help them achieve their goals, which if you do, makes them look better to the C-suite. They get a bit more budget. They might get a pay rise. They might increase their team. So it's a win-win-win.
When do you know when to push back on a client, and what's a good way of doing it?
The sales process always helps when you're going through that discovery call. They're just trying to probe, and try to, and as you grow as an agency, and I think as you get older as a person, you build your experience, you build your confidence up to then build your backbone and go, look, I know how to say no, I know how to do this. If they're already an existing client, you're looking to, there might be some new people coming in, or coming in on the client side, or the client's really ruffling a bit of feathers because budgets are tight and all that. This is where you could literally go and say, and if you've got your clear communication, your clear meetings, you've got your account managers, or you've got your SEO team who have done those reports, who have got that evidence on the board to say, hey, we've done all of this. We're responsible for this. We agreed that you're responsible for all these things to do. Now, usually they might be content. Sometimes they'll have an internal dev that should have got things done, but they didn't. And that's where you can push back, because you have that evidence and you build your confidence and be like, look, we're trying to do our best here to provide value to you, but we are getting roadblocked here, 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 and here. How can we help alleviate that? And then you can able to push back, because then everyone thinks it's always somebody else's fault, or, there'll always be someone to blame. But if you have, and agencies tend to cop the brunt of that, because the client is paying their bills. So the client's going to be, at you, we're paying you. But as you grow as an agency, and as you get older and you gain the more experience, you realize they're people at the end of the day. And there's nothing stopping you from actually standing on your own 2 feet, having a bit of that backbone and going, no, actually, we did what we said we were going to do. That's what you've paid us for. But we haven't been able to provide as much value, or we've been limited in providing business value to you because you said you were going to do content. You haven't done anything for 3 months. You said you had a developer and nothing's been done, and so forth. But that is making sure that you have that evidence, you have those reports, you have that email communication. You are diligent in tracking what it is that you do and where the roadblocks are, which is what you should do in reports and calls and things like that, and keeping on top of that through communication. Because like life, if you let things fester too long, then it'll be a bigger problem down the end of the road, and then you'll be you have a bigger problem to deal with, and good luck try to solve that.
So I know that every in-house team is different, every in-house situation is different, and what they require for agencies to do on their behalf is different. But what trends are you seeing in terms of what clients like to do in-house and what they prefer to outsource to agencies?
The things that we're seeing at the moment is content's always going to be a big one, because if you've got a decent sized brand who want to protect their tone of voice or their messaging or how they speak, or they're just experts in the field because it's a real well niche topic, keep it in-house. You're the experts. And then where an agency could come in is by helping to provide that SEO expertise. Here's how to structure it. Here's how to do the brief. Here's the keyword research. Here's where you should link to. give them the skeleton and they can go and do with it. So content is one. If they're bigger clients, sometimes they'll have a retainer agency in terms of dev. And that's where you work directly with the dev and try and save the client from being the middleman. And you just work directly with the dev and tell them what needs to be done. They're the two biggest things. I've seen a couple that try and do link building themselves, which is hard for an agency, let alone in-house, when they've got 400 other things to do in-house. So link building I've seen, but that's a rare. It's traditionally content they'll keep, which is understandable. And for us, we'll come at it we'll help support you on that, edit it, review it, and research it, all that. And then sometimes dev, if they're decent size, they'll have that in-house. They're the two big things.
If an SEO is struggling for time, what should they stop doing right now so they can spend more time doing what you suggest in 2025?
If an SEO is struggling for time, things are not happening, I would stop, reassess the campaign, look at what their company goals are, have a chat with the client. What are those company goals, and tweak the strategy to work on the priorities that matter. Because sometimes SEOs can get caught up in, this is a cool SEO thing that will make a great case study for LinkedIn and make me look really cool. But in actual fact, is it actually moving the needle for the client? And you could get caught stuck in the weeds, wasting time on little nitty gritty things that you might pick up in an audit. But in actual fact, the big things that might move the needle for the client are their services pages are no good. They need to be redone. Their product pages are terrible. There's no social proof EAT that's going on. The client's not moving. So we need to actually have immediate conversations with the client to rework the campaign. That'll all, in the short term, provide you with things to do. You are being seen as a helping hand, and you are being seen as focusing on the priorities that they should also be caring about, / they do care about, but they might not know how to actually communicate that to you. So that's where you can stop getting caught in the nitty gritty things, focus on the priorities, focus on the things that matter to your client. There'll still be enough SEO work to do there. It just might be different SEO work to be done. But at the end of the day, you should be providing more business value to that client, and that client should be, if you're executing it right, happier.
Anthony Barone is co-founder and managing director of StudioHawk UK, and you can find him over at studiohawk.co.uk. Anthony, thanks so much for being part of SEO in 2025.
Thank you very much, David. Appreciate it as always.
I've been your host, David Bain. Get your copy of SEO in 2025, the book, over at SEOin2025.com.